Of all the compositions I've been involved in commissioning, some of the most rewarding and frankly challenging have been for chorus and orchestra. Rewarding because of all the reasons the musical and emotional interaction of groups of singers with groups of instrumentalists can be so rich. Groups of people producing music in fundamentally different ways. Some scraping on strings, some blowing through tubes, some hitting things, while others simply open their mouths to make that noise. But the biggest difference between instrumentalists and singers is not in their modes of making the sounds, but that the singers project the music through words, or the words through music, while the instrumentalists do not. But when the music is skillful and thoughtful, the orchestra also works to interpret those words. And they do that in ways that choruses by themselves cannot. The merging of these two worlds creates the possibility of something richer than either group, the chorus or orchestra, can create by itself. Commissioning a new instrumental work is a fairly straightforward thing. Make sure you know the composer's music and musical interests. Make sure everybody agrees on what the instruments are going to be, as well as about how long the piece might be. Of course, it's more complicated than that, but commissioning a new choral instrumental work is, or at least should be, much more layered. Yes, everybody has to agree on the exact instrumental ensemble, the work's length, any soloists, and so forth. But then there's the matter of the words. Are they distinguished and rich, or are they obvious, stuck in their time? Or are they so complex that nobody can understand them, especially if they're sung? Or so concrete as to limit their reach? Or do they have the possibility for broad resonance? Oddly, the presence of words does not necessarily make things more concrete, but it can motivate something indirect and metaphoric or richer than simple preaching or agitprop. And that's where things get complex and possibly very interesting. The first choral orchestral work I was involved in commissioning was John Harbison's The Flight into Egypt. In this piece, Harbison turned to an ancient text in order to suggest a contemporary challenge. The words he chose were from Matthew 3, words that recount the angel of the Lord appearing before Joseph and telling him to arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. Powerful words unto themselves, but John saw the possibility of revealing them in a way that responded to the perennial challenges of the homeless, the dispossessed, and the lonely, especially during a time of year that is supposed to be joyous, the Christmas season. I think John understood that the possibility for these words to be heard, in some way to be released in a rich and metaphoric way, was most likely through the interaction of singers and instrumentalists, through the intertwining of words and non-words. John Harbison's The Flight into Egypt is a deep and marvelous work. And, as it turned out, it also set the tone for many of the 15 choral orchestral compositions that followed. Since many of those composers chose and set texts with rich implications that avoided sermonizing or lecturing, didn't harangue, and did not tie themselves down. Creating the conditions for such a fertile interaction is a complex challenge. Serious and searching thought, compelling words, and superb compositional skill are essential. But when those forces do merge, deeply vibrant and resonant music may appear.